playing with the figurines. That's Crim.
Yep,
He's just gonna be alone in his room, being like, Kaito, Wonder. And then someone's gonna walk through the door and be like, "Hey, Crim, you want to play EDH?" And he's like, yeah, I'm down to play EDH.
Throw the cards.
Just shuffle them back in. I was just gold fishing. That's what I was doing. Crim, I saw what you were doing.
We've been watching you for the last 10 minutes, dude.
Oh my god. What's up, guys? You are listening to the Nii-San podcast, hosted by Xell and Crim, that's me, and Crim, the Asian Avenger, that's him.
That's me.
And today we're going to be talking about a bunch of different big crossover news that's happening between video games and anime. I think just in general, we've been entering kind of a high period of hype for a lot of different video games with some of the new releases, such as Pokemon and Lost Ark. And by the time this episode releases, Elden Ring will be out, and I know a lot of people are excited for that. I think that was
if their PCs can handle it. Yeah.
Well, I gotta check on mine. I think it was voted as the most anticipated game of this year. So I'm sure people are very hyped about that. But we have other news to get into first. So yeah, let's get into that. Weeb
so
Weekly.
Yeah, as you know, this week's the Weeb Weekly.
The Weeb Weekly.
We have so many like video game related news, right? But it's like we're not just talking about like regular video games. I guess regular video games like Elden Ring and whatnot. We're talking about like also anime crossover video games, and like so you've seen like Fortnite, right? And have Naruto and like Sasuke like blasting people with like an auto or something like that. I'm like, man, that doesn't make any sense, but. I thought that would end there, but it turns out there's an even more ambitious one, and it looks really bad. Now, trust me, I have a Jujutsu Kaisen shirt on, okay? I love Jujutsu Kaisen, and it's my love for Jujutsu Kaisen that is offended by this, but there is a PubG. You remember that game? Yeah, people still play that. There's a mobile PubG crossover with Jujutsu Kaisen. Now... If you've ever needed to see Megumi drop down with a parachute holding an assault rifle, gunning people down, this is your game. They've got a Jujutsu Kaisen mobile PUBG crossover where there's a JJK mode, and I believe there's some form of domain expansion going on in there too. I'm not entirely sure. But this has to be like a mind-blowing news to you, right?
Yeah, I didn't think we could get any weirder with Fortnite and Naruto, but then PUBG says, "Hold my beer, I got you," and has this weird crossover between PUBG and Jujutsu Kaisen. So one thing I know is PUBG Mobile I know is very popular in Asia still, I believe.
Yeah.
And so okay, an anime crossover makes sense. Does it though?
It doesn't matter how popular. If this were Fortnite, it doesn't matter the game. The point here is it just feels weird. I wasn't even excited about the Naruto like Fortnite crossover, right? Other than I guess with Fortnite, they've had so many absurd things. Like you have LeBron James, go around.
Yeah. I feel like Fortnite has started this trend where basically nothing is sacred anymore. When Thanos showed up into Fortnite, I was like, oh yeah, just there's no holding back anymore. There's just no, you can't you're gonna see everything with everything else.
The funny thing here is just like Fortnite making so Thanos can Uzi people, but now it's you throw Naruto into the mix, and you know what? It's a matter of time till we see Yuji in the world of Fortnite. But yeah, this game, I did not expect a Jujutsu Kaisen crossover. This is just a really random anime crossover to me.
Yeah.
I didn't expect this. I thought maybe Attack on Titan, sure, whatever. I thought maybe Demon Slayer even. But they went with Jujutsu Kaisen, and I was kind of blown away by that. So I don't know, are you gonna try it if you can?
I'm gonna pass on this one. Great for people who play PUBG Mobile. Y'all got, you do your thing. Play some Megami for me. It'd be cool if so I know in Fortnite you can Rasengan people, I think with Naruto. I think that's like a weapon you can pick up or something like that. I don't know if that's the case in the PubG mobile, because does that even fit with their aesthetic? Not that it fits with Fortnite's aesthetic either, but I don't know.
I don't know, man. I genuinely do not know if that's like a thing that I haven't touched it. I don't know if I'm like the fanboy in me wants to see what it's like if I go around. Like, do I get to be Sukuna, blast some people? Like, sure, why not? Although technically, I don't need to do that if I were Sukuna. I could just like actually curse them. But
yeah,
there's just the fanboy in me wants to give it a whirl. But that's about it. Also. Another thing I forgot to mention before we started filming was did you remember a while back we did an episode, right, where there's a lot of gaming and anime crossovers, right?
Yes.
And so this episode, I think around that time we did that episode, a trailer so memorable, so iconic, so bad, and so ambitious all at the same time dropped for a game called PalWorld. PalWorld is back with trailer number 2.
Oh man, is it as good as the first one? I gotta look this up.
It leans even more into the absurd. And you know what? They are aware that they're asking you, like they're very openly telling you, it puts you, now you get a bigger idea of how the game works. It's putting you in the situation of, are you going to do all the world building yourselves? Or are you going to lean into animal cruelty and force your pals to do it for you? So the trade-off here is, in this game, now that they've given you more information, you either can do it yourself and the building takes like 4 times as long, or you essentially enslave a bunch of local creatures and that expedites the building process. So and some of them are pretty rough. Like, the original trailer had the gun assembly line, but now in this one you have more of it. You have like the ability to sneak into buildings and have what essentially is your Pokemon, your pals, step on the landmines for you. And as you could see from Xell's expression, he's also learning more and more about it. You can use your pals as a rifle. Like, you can literally, there's like a toucan or something like that. You can use it as a rifle to shoot its eggs out at other pals.
They just learned that one from Banjo-Kazooie, all right? That one's been a thing. I just watched the trailer as you were talking about it, and like, gun assembly Pokemon is back. Same with like these PalWorld critters being like strapped to medical chairs or something. I don't know about that one.
Like experimented on, yeah.
There's literally one where it's like this cute little dinosaur and it just eats another one. It just straight up just ate another pal thing. And then you see like a little critter walk across, and you have the main character behind a corner being like, like Metal Gear Solid. And you see him walk by, and then suddenly an explosion happens, and you see the power just get flung across, ragdoll, then hits the wall, and you're like, what is this game?
That
is.
We have to play this at this point. Now we have to play this game. And so you and I, we are streaming this game. We're making some kind of video around this game because it's now it. At first, the video that we saw, the trailer from back then, it looked like it. You just were so blindsided. Now you get a look into the world that is PalWorld, and so.
These honestly though, the graphically looks pretty good. So I am how I said earlier that Elden Ring is the most anticipated game. I think this one's the dark horse for sure. Oh my god, because
Elden
it's both dark and there are horses. Jeez Louise.
Oh, man, this game is so it's so offensive how bad this game is. But like,
you take that back.
Try it. I gotta try it. Yeah. I might love this game. Who knows?
Oh my goodness. More video game news that has just come hot off the press that isn't about animal cruelty. Capcom announced Street Fighter 6, which the fighting game community is very hype on. There's been a lot of fighting game releases.
but also not hype.
It depends. Street Fighter is still like one of the biggest fighting game franchises of all time, and even recently had a collab with Magic the Gathering and announced their Secret Lair cards that are a
Secret
crossover.
Lair is fire, dude.
Yeah, so I guess the timing of it was perfect and probably planned because Street Fighter 6 was announced. They put out a little trailer. There isn't much shown besides like, I guess graphically it looks very, I don't know, it looks fresh. So that's something that just got announced. And then also more video game stuff is the Nintendo eShop for the 3DS goes offline. This one is just like, for me, I just wanted to shout this out because the 3DS, I loved the 3DS, and it's not like the 3DS is going away, by the way. I think it's just the eShop is going down, and so you can still download things if you need to right now. Like Pokemon Bank, I believe, is now free for the 3DS, but I just remember like specifically going to anime conventions with my 3DS and watching my Street Pass fill up with different people's like Mii's and stuff like that, and I just thought that feature was awesome.
Default.
Yeah,
Did you play Bravely Default?
Yeah, I played Bravely Default.
The Street Pass on that was wild, right? Like, oh, that was so perfect.
Yeah,
because you knew everyone and the grandma was playing it.
So like, there was some stuff that I'm realizing now, like, oh man, why doesn't the Switch have something like that? But I wanted to shout that out. Now, this last thing I wanted to talk about was just really quick because it's just ridiculous. But so about 2 weeks ago, basically one of the Hololive VTubers got caught up in a controversy over not murder, not theft, not sexual harassment. No. Having a boyfriend. What? And
all my years of simping for you. What's gonna happen?
And reading into it a little bit more too is that a lot of the controversy happened because apparently the VTuber received a text from a pretty well-known YouTuber in the same sort of space, saying like, "Nii-Chan, I'm coming home," and so people extrapolated that into like, "Oh, she has a boyfriend. She's been lying to us. She is not single. How can I possibly forgive this travesty? Did she not know that this is communism and she is not someone who can have their own boyfriend? She's our girlfriend collectively as a fan." I don't know, dude. I just like, it's so ridiculous and frankly pretty creepy. So, and
I would say that is moderately creepy. Yeah, that's pretty creepy.
And she was receiving like death threats over it and all this other stuff, and I just thought it was very funny. So I wanted to mention that. I mean, there.
Parasocial relationships, huh?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Dude, it's definitely one of those things, like, I get it, guys. Y'all are looking for your waifus, but maybe streaming VTubers aren't really there to be your waifu, you know? Like, they're just trying to be entertainers. I know I've been watching Crim for some time, and he hasn't really, like, paid attention to me, so I know how that feels, guys, but, you know... Calm down, all right?
Get out of here.
Calm down. Man,
Are you kidding me? I'm the one that has to simp in your chat, okay?
When I watch Crim and he's complaining about his mana screw while playing Arena and complaining about the shuffler, like, I know, it gets me going too, guys. I get it. But you have to control yourselves and realize that this is all for entertainment and nothing is real on the internet. So,
wait, I thought our friendship was real, dude.
We went over this. It's ironic, Crim. It's ironic.
I thought you were kidding.
Oh God. And so yeah. Anyways, with some of the news out of the way, we wanted to talk about some other big kind of like video game releases that we kind of wanted to go a little more deep on, just because we've been playing some of these things. We're excited for some of these things, and yeah, they have to do with anime and some of the spaces that we're interested in. So let's get into it. The first thing we want to talk about is the release of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty for Magic the Gathering. Obviously, Crim is a big content creator within the Magic scene. I'm sort of like someone tangential to it as well. And this is probably one of the biggest sets to have released in recent times. I cannot remember a time where so many people I've seen get so hyped in so many different regards to Magic the Gathering. And I think that's awesome. Like I see people being really happy about the drafts. People are excited about Constructed in multiple different formats in Constructed. People are hyped about the anime short that they released from Wit Studio, Kamigawa. Like there's just like so many different reasons to be excited about this, and it's amazing.
They did everything right this set. I don't know how any of the other sets are going to follow when it comes to marketing, when it comes to like just like design and everything. Like this set had a lot of hype going back into it, and mostly because when you think of last Kamigawa, it was pretty miserable, right? Like standard wise, like you had to like pack GTAs in your sideboard to blow up opposing GTAs because the legendary rule.
Oh my god, what were they thinking?
I like there was just so much like, and like only one mechanic was relevant, which was ninjutsu, because everything else, Bushido was trash and all of that. So. This set,
Splice onto Arcane wasn't the coolest mechanic.
Oh, God. I still don't know what the rest of that does. So I was just so surprised at how high everyone's expectations were going into this set, though, because, you know, like this is a big plane that people have been wanting to go back to. And not only did they nail it from the lore front, they went out and made a visual novel, which, by the way, makes me Magic canon now because I'm in it, I think. And so I'm still waiting. That means someday soon I'll get that Crim Planeswalker. But yeah, so we have that, and then we also have like a visual novel and just story, just overall story, you know, with Tamio's completion, if you would. So if you haven't heard about that, go read that if you're a fan of Magic the Gathering. But the biggest thing for me to take away from this set might be the whole reason why it's even on this podcast is they had worked and collaborated with Wit Studio to make a 3-minute some short that is emotionally moving, really well animated. You learn to love, like, there's not much story about one of the Planeswalkers, Kaido or the Wanderer, but now you don't need to know anything about their life until you see the short does it for me, right? They're star-crossed lovers, essentially. Her unstable core makes it so that she can't be in any plane for too long. And they've grown up as childhood I'm gonna start crying right now, man. Like, okay, so like, I love that, and the animation was gorgeous. And not only that, the fight scene, you got to see Jin Gataxias fighting. You got to see Tezzeret fighting. What? And this just the only thing that this has led me to believe is that there's a Netflix show coming out for Magic, right? I think it's following the Gatewatch or something like that, and it seems like it's going to be animated in the 3D style because they got the dude that did Transformers Prime, which was a good animated show, very much so for kids. But that style of art, I have to imagine what's going to be next for the MTG Netflix series. They're going to do that, but leave money on the table with Kamigawa. Like, this anime short has shown that if you got an anime for Magic, people would be there for that. Because think about it. What about the shows that are bigger than the game? Like much bigger than their games, right? And when I say the games, I mean their card games. You think Yu-Gi-Oh! You think Pokemon. Both have been extremely influential like parts of our childhoods. Mm-hmm. Why is that? Because there was a show we could watch. I didn't know how to play the game. All I knew was the show that led me to the game.
Right.
So this, if Magic went ahead and made this a real show, they would then like find a way to connect with the next generation. There will be kids that just watch or play the game who have no idea what the game is. They just know from the show. Kaido, well, I mean, like, let's not lie. I love Jace, but if you're telling me Kaido is the face of Magic for like little like teenage middle school boys, and like Wandering Emperor is something that teenage middle school girls can strive to want to be, dude, that's pretty rad, right? Like, and there, I think that this is just a big bummer because you've seen it right there. Like the way that Wit Studio animated that had the most Adult Swim vibes, you know, like you'd watch it at night, you know, I could see me watching this before bed on weekends or something like that, and it would be perfect like the Toonami days. So the short was perfect, and on top of that, it lines up with how the set had all those showcase, like for those that don't know Magic or what showcase is, they had variant artworks that were done anime style. And they even had artists from like numerous other games. Like they had the concept artist from Metal Gear Solid do an alternate art. They had Fist of the North Stars artists do one for Kaido. So it's not like Magic went hard on this set.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious how any set follows this. And like the anime thing is the biggest miss for me. Not that the anime short was bad. It's that holy hell, it was so good that I feel cheated we don't have one. And the minor tidbit too, the person singing the song in the animated short, I couldn't figure out who it was, but who was it, Josh?
TK from Link to Stishigure, who's probably most well known for doing Unravel from Tokyo Ghoul. Yeah, dude, they freaking nailed everything in this set. Just like top to bottom, it was like executionally, they just did it. It feels like everything right. And yeah, you mentioned a lot of it. Like the bringing back Phyrexia into this was awesome. So for Magic fans, it's like having, I don't know, like Dracula come back from the dead, you know, like there's just kind of this like, oh man, one of the biggest, baddest boogeymen of all time is now like re-entered the zone. We have this art style that we love, this anime art style that's like on printed cards for Magic. The anime short was amazing, and it's by artists that we love, by studios that we love, and like they created, I didn't know anything about the Wanderer or Kaido going into it. And I watched that 3-minute video and I was like, well, gosh, I have so many feels about them already. And so like, it was one of those things that it's incredible. And I wonder if the success of this set puts like WotC in a bit of a pickle, because it's like, well, Magic's known for going across many worlds very quickly, right? Like throughout these sets. And it's like, maybe we should have stayed on this set just a little bit longer so that we could flesh out things a little more and, give it a little more meat. Because I think it would be really
do that in the show.
Yeah. I mean, if they want to, but I imagine they'll probably want to. Yeah, I don't know. Like I think it's the same problem that League had, which is why I thought Arcane was so interesting. Which is that instead of taking a show approach that like goes the holistic thing of what the game represents, right? You just snapshot it into one small sector of the game, right? Arcane was just about Jinx, Vi's backstory, City of Zon. Like they just snapshot it into that point. So similarly, they could do the same thing, like make their own Arcane, Not saying that would be an easy feat to do, but that would be amazing for this set in particular.
They wouldn't have to do, let's be honest here. I have to assume Arcane is an expensive show to make, right?
Yes.
And we have learned that even like Hasbro, they just recently did an earnings thing for Hasbro. And Magic had an astronomical year when it comes to finances and how much they made. Yet it's so weird because I feel like with all that money, you want to break into these new markets. You want to be bigger than the game. You just take a little bit of that money. You don't even have to make the game like the same show that Arcane made, right? Because Arcane has a specific art style. Seems very expensive to run 9 episodes at an hour long each episode. But you can still do anime, right? Not to say that anime art is cheaper, but do you think it's probably cheaper to make an anime style Magic or Arcane style, right? I feel like Arcane style definitely is probably way more financially expensive, but let's say they made an anime. They work with Wit Studio again because they've already got a running relationship now. You have the money for it. This is what you want. I am trying to champion this cause and push for it because I am upset, dude. We don't have this anime. And how? What? Oh my God. It's literally free real estate. It's free real estate. like the fan base wants it.
Yeah.
No one is... Everyone like that, right? Like everyone like
that. Yeah.
Very rarely does the community just like get together, but everyone liked that.
Yeah, I would imagine it would be super dope for them to do something like that. And I mean, even games like Dota have an anime. Yeah. So I hopefully, they figure something out, because I really do feel like it's a big missed opportunity for them if they don't go like double down essentially on Kamigawa. So
Right.
I'm with you, Crim. I'm with you, and we'll see. We'll see what the corporate overlords at Hasbro have to say about it. But
I'm just imagining Jin Gataxius in a suit. What do the people want? An anime? Don't give it to them. Tease them. And then never give it.
What else does Hasbro own, anyways? You know, like what?
Transformers, G.I. Joe. Like, you know what's funny? Like, Hasbro is literally getting carried by WotC. They're like, apparently they're the only IP that makes them money. So, yeah, like, come on, make a show.
Yeah, so I'm hoping for the same thing, man. I do hope that they continue it on. I have these like flashbacks to when I was at Riot trying to push for an animated series for League of Legends, and yeah, we'll see how WotC does. We'll see what their long-term plans will be, because it'd be crazy to me to be like, hey guys, this Kamigawa set was pretty popular, guys. You think we should do that again? And all the people at Hasbro were like, nah, we're good.
No.
So yeah, that's Kamigawa. I mean, me and Crim, we've both built decks from Kamigawa for Commander. We got to play some at our friend's place the other day, which was super fun. And I'm in love with the set. It makes me makes my wallet sad, but it makes me very happy.
Yeah, I splurged a little bit. I won't lie to you. I definitely bought a few Magic cards, and I'm not even done because I need my Wandering Emperor anime art. It's so hard to find, along with Kaido.
Just gotta start buying those boxes, man. Start doing
I'm essentially doing my own fanfic. What's gonna happen is I'm gonna have those two, and then I'm gonna write their love story in my deck, because they're like, you're finally reunited on my plane.
It's like you ever watch oh my god, the Star Wars parody movie Spaceballs, and he's like playing with the figurines. That's Crim.
Yep,
He's just gonna be alone in his room being like, Kaito, Wonder. And then someone's gonna walk through the door and be like, hey Crim, you wanna play EDH? And he's like, yeah, I'm down to play EDH.
Throw the cards.
Just shuffle them back in really quick. I was just goldfishing. That's what I was doing. Crim, I saw what you were doing.
We've been watching you for the last 10 minutes, dude.
Oh my god. But yeah, I'm so excited, and I'm excited to, like, it really has made me want to play Magic again, which like, as somebody who's sort of like fallen in and out of Magic, like this set brought me back. So yeah, so that's Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Next game we wanted to talk about, with which Crim and I have been playing a little bit recently, is Lost Ark. Lost Ark has been crazy. I didn't realize to what extent this game would be popular, but hey, free to play MMO with amazing graphics. I guess that's all you need to have it be a recipe for success. And also the fact that it's published by Amazon means that these streamers are getting heavily pushed to play Lost Ark, and yeah, like there's like drops. So some of these streamers are getting like crazy views because people want them drops and whatnot. And and yeah, so me and Crim have tried the game out a little bit now, and we want to give our initial thoughts. We haven't made it to the end game part, because I know the end game is what a lot of people are excited about. But yeah, what are some of your thoughts on the games as you've played it?
Okay, so there's a reason why I think I haven't hit the end game yet. Now, I enjoy the game, right? But the problem here is every now and then gameplay breaks out in the middle of your cutscenes. Legit, though, I think that the game so far has been battling system, whatnot, has been amazing. I've really enjoyed the way so I'm playing sorcerer, and I am a huge spellcaster kind of guy. So I really like the way the spells feel, the play style, even the channeling effects feel good. So it's been fun playing that, right? But the problem is the MSQ, the main story quests, are such slogs. I feel like the biggest issue I have with the game, I like the game. I hate everything that the game tries to make me do, like watch the story, because the voice acting, in at least English, is terrible. It is the worst voice acting like I've ever heard. Like I can't like I think we were playing it and I just couldn't help but mock it because the whole time it was just a bunch of cheese just like forced down my ear holes, right? And I'm just like, come on. Who's doing these voice lines, right?
Voice direction in the show reminds me of like hentai games. You know, the ones that just like get on.
I don't know what you mean. What are you talking about?
It's just like, hey, summoner. Hey, click on me for a good time. It's like with the direction of all the female voices, and every dude is just
they
like.
They actually say that. They do actually say that. Like, hey, traveler. Where you headed? Hey, traveler, where you headed? You shut up! You leave me alone!
But that's the quality of voice acting we've got, at least voice direction wise too.
Right, and so you have that, and then you have. So my other gripe with this is, so we kind of touched up on this ourselves, but so there are gender locked classes. I think that's kind of weird. And then on top of that, because like in most games that I play, I don't know about you, but I try to make my character, but well, in another world. I essentially isekai myself, right? And I think that it adds a lot to the immersion for me and a lot more of the fun. And when I go to another game, I don't want to be locked into gender locked classes, and two, a human. And people are like, but you have elves. I'm like, you mean the pointy ears that is there for more sexual appearances than anything else, really? Then, because I feel like that's like not even close to it being an elf, right? And so I'm like, oh, you can turn yourself purple. Okay, cool. But I think when you play these kind of games, the one thing I love is being like the fantasy creatures, like the other races and stuff. Like I love being a Lalafell because I'm like a little potato, right? But I'm like a Lalafell version of me. When I'm going into like, wow, I was undead, right? So I just hate the idea of playing humans, and nothing pulls me out of a game more than being a human. Because humans suck. So,
yeah, for sure.
For sure,
I completely understand like where you're coming from, right? Like when you play video games, like part of it is just like playing an extension of yourself, and it brings you out of that immersion when you can't really vibe with your own character, you know? So
right,
yeah, gender lock classes. Besides just like it being slightly misogynistic that you can't play a healer class without being a woman.
You bet my sweet cock is on its way.
Yeah, you can't tank unless if you're a dude.
Yeah.
And I'd like, yeah, besides that, which has its own barrel of issues, just like I'm forced to play characters that I don't really like personally attach myself to, which is weird. Like when I play Final Fantasy 14, my character is me. Or what I would love to be. So
sure, yeah.
And having that customization, I think, is like a huge appeal to me, especially for an MMO. So yeah, I hear you on that for sure. I
don't even know what they're trying to hint at here, right? Is this some weird thing like, oh, well, only girls can be spellcasters? And it's like, have they ever eaten a fireball to the face? That is genderless. That is genderless. That is pain. But I don't know, man. Like, right? Like, isn't that just like kind of dumb? Like, I don't understand, and I think that's because it is a game that's rooted in like maybe other cultures, right? So it comes from other cultures, so that maybe things are a little bit different.
I think I do. I think I did hear that was one of the things that they were going to address as soon as they can. I think the Western publisher at least had said something about that with Lost Ark about like, hey guys, we hear you and we get that it's a problem and we want to change it. So that's. I don't have a source on that, but I do remember someone saying that to me, and I was like, okay, that's awesome, because that I don't know. I just, like I said, I want to vibe with my character, and I get it. Some people only play MMOs to stare at their character's ass. Nothing wrong with that.
That's fine.
That's
totally fine.
That's the way you want to do it. But for me personally, like I want to stare at my ass. You know, that's the difference.
Interesting. Huh? Can I? So we're gonna quote that.
We're just going to. We're just gonna move on really quick.
I'm gonna save this video and I'm gonna just edit it myself.
What stuff have you liked about the game?
Well, okay. Well, actually, there's one more thing I don't like.
Go.
So speaking of the immersion of your character, right? Mm-hmm. And you want to get into the character that you're playing, a problem that I had was the fact that, well, okay, I don't know why, but all the armor is the same. right? Like it does. So like if I were to go loot this random trash mob, I get a new piece of gear, but the model of the skin of the armor is exactly the same as the one before. So they really didn't do enough to like differentiate all the gear, right? And I thought that was kind of whack. So I will say though, like, you know, like that's a big part of it, right? Because I mean, coming from Final Fantasy, where, you know, fashion is endgame. In World of Warcraft, what did I do first before even trying to get attuned to raid? I made sure I looked good, right? So, like, you know, like that's big. I feel like that's almost common knowledge now amongst most MMO games. Your glam game has got to be like deep, right? And they didn't do a good job with that so far.
Yeah.
Now, I've started with a lot of negatives, right? And I've only stated one positive. But the one positive, the one thing I love about this game is the gameplay. It's so good that I slogged through 37 levels of this. I am normally a person that doesn't play these kind of games. The top-down look, I didn't like StarCraft 2. I didn't like a lot of those kind of games, right? I only like Warcraft, surprisingly. But this game does have a huge element of fun. There's parts of it where it's just like absolutely beautiful. Like I cannot believe a game can look this good from this like top-down kind of play style. On top of that, the battle system seems like I cannot wait for PvP. Although I haven't done PvP, I have heard from my community and, you know, tons of friends, everybody, that the PvP is dope. And even the raiding, the end game is dope. And I got a sense of that while playing some of the dungeons, with you, right? Like we did so for those that don't know, you have the option of going normal like difficulty, or you can like kick it up a notch, right? You up the difficulty of a dungeon or whatever, it ups the loot, right? The rarity of the loot and all of that. So I really liked what I got from playing the game. It's so good that it allows me to almost overlook a lot of it. I don't know about the longevity of it. Like, will I continue playing? I don't know, because that depends on the changes they will make, right? Now, for right now, I am willing to slog through all the crap just to get to, like, more gameplay, because the gameplay is addicting. So I know that I've only stated one thing, but legitimately, the gameplay is really good. The battle systems, the spell casting, I don't know, because you play more of a melee class, right? So... yeah, you're a long range. You shoot a gun.
I shoot a gun,
right?
but it's like a shotgun, so I'm basically playing a melee.
Yeah, you're like ranged melee, right?
Yeah.
Sure. But like despite that, they have done a good job of making every class feel pretty fun to play.
Yeah, I think I was really surprised, because I think a lot of these top-down like Diablo type games, the combat can be pretty mind-numbing, where you're like just spamming the same abilities to a horde of monsters, and they just all blow up, and you're just getting gear to blow them up faster. And I thought it was going to be pretty stale, but then I played it and I was like surprised. I was like, oh, okay, like my character needs to get behind enemies to do more damage, because I have like a backstab bonus. There's like different types of status inflictions that you'll have to do on certain types of enemies, where like there's like a thing called destruction, and you're supposed to use those type of abilities to hit armored enemies. There's like stagger, which helps you break certain casts of mobs. So there's like a lot of in-depth things that like I'm just scraping the surface of in the game, and that's exciting. You know, as someone who likes in-depth combat systems, I think this game has a lot of opportunity to showcase your skill. That's great.
Do you think that changes eventually? Like maybe it's fun now, but it still feels, because for me it still feels like my brain is turned off while playing this. Now maybe that's just because my brain is permanently off, but the thing here is I feel like playing the game, the fact that there's no rotation, there's no nothing, right? There's just like the I think where the depth comes from is like lining up your spell book, essentially, because you have a limited number of slots where you can put the spells in, and that's it, right? So but because there's no rotation, do you worry that it's gonna get too easy? Like I granted that this could all change my point of view and all that once I get to end game in PvP.
So I went ahead and watched, you know, there's a guy, this has been going through the Final Fantasy community a bit when Lost Ark had first come out, and some guy came out with a video that was called like how hard is Lost Ark raiding? And I sat and watched it. It's like a long video, and he goes through like one of the endgame raids for Lost Ark. And I was watching it, and I was like, okay, this game gets really hard. I was very surprised, and I was like, that's the part of the game I want to touch, because yeah, you don't have a rotation, but essentially you're constantly having to dodge things and sneak in damage while you're doing it. And so like you might actually have all your abilities off cooldown to hit hit the boss, because you don't have an opportunity to breathe. You're just like constantly trying to dodge things, get in place. And so like that part of the gameplay, I was like, okay, this seems actually pretty exciting. You know, I don't need a rotation. I just need, I have to just juggle how to not die and do the most damage I can, you know? And I think that's genuinely very cool. And, I think compared to like Final Fantasy 14, where like you have a very strict rotation and mechanics are very strict. In this game, it's far more like, it's more like Twitch gameplay, where you're like, do I have time for this? Do I like, how fast are my reactions to dodge this mechanic? And so you're juggling a lot of like on the fly decision making, whereas like Final Fantasy is more like make the wrong decision and cry about it for the next like 5 minutes as you're raiding, right?
I do that actually quite often as we raid together. Now you've heard me cry.
Yeah.
Damage down. No!
Final Fantasy 14 plays like a rhythm game, like DDR, where like you have the patterns coming at you. You know what the pattern is. You're supposed to execute it to the maximum that you can of your ability, and like mistakes are heavily punished. This game feels much more like I don't know, more like just like a bullet hell game, right? You're just like trying to dodge all these things that are coming at you and sneaking in the damage that you can while playing. And that part of it is very exciting to me from a PvE standpoint, and I like that a lot. But what's exciting about it is the PvP side, which I've been seeing more and more clips of recently. And that plays much more like if you've ever played arena arena brawlers like Battle Right, Bloodline Champions, they're incredibly fun PvP games where, kind of like Lost Ark, you play a character, they have like a specialized kit, and you're trying to work together like to, you know, kill your opponents. And it's very, very skill intensive, and I haven't done it yet in Lost Ark, but because of the way that the characters are designed and based off of the way the game plays, I can imagine it being pretty close to feeling like one of those games, which I think is really exciting. That said, I haven't actually got there, so I'm saying a lot of the stuff off of hearsay. The stuff that I can actually talk about is the leveling experience so far, and how satisfying things have been on that front. Like you mentioned, the story is dog water. It's like, I don't care about any character. You're just like a person who is a side character in someone else's hero's journey. And it's kind of WoW-ish that way, where like WoW, you're like a elite soldier in the army of someone more important, and they're the ones who drive the story. And I actually dislike that now, having come from Final Fantasy 14 a little bit, where like you are actively part of the story. I like that a lot. In this game, it feels much more like you just kind of happen to be there at the right time, and you're really good at fighting. So I guess like you're doing stuff too, I guess. So from a story point, like not only is it that from the character point of view, you're like, I'm not that invested in my character because I can't really control the way my character looks because the glam isn't really appealing to me, and you might be gender locked off the, you know, the class that you want to play, or like the gender that you want to play as. But then on top of that, the story means that you are also not that important in the long run, besides the fact that you kill stuff good. So, you know, like...
So they do everything they can to make you not interested in your own character.
Yeah, and so like when I'm going through the leveling experience, I'm just mashing escape, G, and left click, which are all ways to skip through cutscenes, because you're just like, please let me get through this. Please let me get through this. I just want more abilities because I want to level up my skills and do big booty blasts, you know, on more enemies. That's it.
Big booties.
Yeah, big booty blasts. That. Yeah. Oh, your character definitely has a big booty.
Oh yeah. I mean, dude, I know that I said that I can't be my character, but also the character I did made, she's hot. She's hot. Like, oh my god. Like, oh my god. Everyone looks like, every girl looks like a K-pop star, and and then every dude looks like what you imagine when a chiseled man comes through. Like
Yeah,
like,
every
you know,
dude
like-
is Chuck Norris plus like The Rock mixed together.
Yeah, super Chad, super Chad.
And so yeah. Anyways, the story part of it, the lore part of it, makes.
Lore.
I'm so separated from it, and it's hard for me to want to care about it. The things I'll say that have been really awesome are some of the dungeon set pieces are amazing. There was a section of the game I played where you're going through this dungeon and you come across like this giant demon thing, and you're crawling up this building, and it's like chasing you and pops out from the center to like do some damage, and you're fighting it, and then you keep going across this like spiraling tower. And I was like, this is so I don't know, dynamic in a way that like Final Fantasy 14 dungeons are not. And I was really amazed by how they can make the game feel like that, even though 90% of the game otherwise is just walking through really long corridors that they call maps to talk to the next NPC. But like when you get to the dungeons that are exciting, like, man, they're so great. And then you're back to hallway simulator, and you're playing Mario Party with escape G and left click again, and trying to mash your way to victory. You know,
You are APM gaming legit. You are trying to click as fast as you can.
Yeah. So that said, I am gonna probably continue playing Lost Ark and seeing. I want a taste of what endgame looks like, because some of my friends who are big raiders in Final Fantasy 14, they're like, oh, it is great. It does take up a lot of your time, but it is a really rewarding experience. And even if I don't stick with the game, like, I want to at least see what that's like personally. So
I've heard personally from others that have been raiding is that it's a huge time sink to even get attuned and to get into the raid. So that is a concern for me.
Yeah.
Between multiple games already, that like I don't know how many time sinks you can afford in your life.
Yeah.
But if you can afford this time sink, I heard it's rewarding, but I am intimidated by how much time is needed to get even into raiding. So I will continue playing only to get into PvP, so that I can teabag in game.
I want to know how many people, like, how many games do you juggle that have dailies, right? Because I'm playing Final Fantasy 14. That's the only game that I do dailies for. But, like, I know there are people who are playing, Genshin Impact, which has
Right.
dailies. I mean, even Valorant has dailies, for their battle pass and stuff. Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering. Yeah.
Right. Every game has dailies now, and that's the problem. Like, I think that's its own topic, because like dailies are becoming a thing to where it forces users to like log in, right? And that is kind of annoying. Yeah. I think like there's only a few games that warrant the dailies.
Yeah.
But and I get why they're doing it, but I think only a few games should have it. And then there's dailies, but then I've heard Lost Ark is like dailies plus, because you also have to like manage your own farm or whatever that thing is that looks like a mobile game, and then you also like, it really does have mobile game vibes. Like I cannot believe it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
they like took the dark arts from mobile gaming and inserted it into the game. Like you have the stronghold, which is kind of like the garrison in WoW, where like you have your own little city that you build, but it's got like these little things that want you to check back in every so often. Like you're researching your like building capability thing, and it takes like 8 hours, so it wants you to come back in 8 hours. You can send out your crew members on like little ships to get materials. That happens every 2 hours. So technically, to be optimal, you want to be coming back to the game every 2 hours. And then you've got
You need that, by the way.
Yeah.
In order to raid, you need that.
So you're constantly doing that. You have Guardian raids that you're supposed to do. Your Chaos dungeons every day. So Lost Ark really heavily leans on mobile game flavor, which I'm not happy about. That's actually, that's honestly probably the biggest reason why there's no way I can stick with this game. I actually, like, even though Final Fantasy 14 has dailies, they're like so optional that I almost never care about doing them. And like,
you can still enjoy the game without them, right? Like, and I could even do late game without them for the most part.
And so, we'll see. We'll see how Lost Ark develops. I'm very curious with Elden Ring around the corner, which we'll talk about pretty soon here. Like, Are people? Do you think Lost Ark is going to continue its hype even past Elden Ring?
No, fully no. Just it's easy, right? I mean, like we had just mentioned how many time sinks do people have.
Yeah.
On top of that, I think that Lost Ark probably has its core fan base. People will play it.
Yeah.
But Elden Ring's going to take over. Lost Ark is just what's hot right now. It'll have its fan base. It'll still be popular. Like, I don't know if it'll, like, do you see it being a game that stays around forever? Like past these next initial, like, month or two?
I don't know. You know, again, like, I think games that require you to play it constantly do have a shorter shelf life, because I don't think
Correct.
the general person has enough time and only desires to play one game for the rest of their lives, you know? Like that's like literally why people burnt out of WoW, is because WoW was like that. WoW was a game that just demanded all of your free time. You're not a video game player, you're a WoW player. And like I think that's like how it is for Lost Ark from what I've seen, is like I don't play video games. I just grind my dailies, and that's the part of the thing that I think is like a super turnoff. And I don't know if they'll pull that back. Again, Lost Ark has a Korean developer. Korean games are notorious for wanting to take up all your game time and all your free time and all your hopes and dreams and cash and your, you know, I don't know.
You might have to miss your wedding, whatever it is, because your
honey,
ship's coming back.
My ship's coming back. It kind of landed right when we're supposed to say our vows. I'll be right back. The homies need me for this Guardian raid. I will be back. So yeah, I don't know what the longevity of this game is, but that said, I'm still curious enough that I want to give it a chance. But I'll probably stick to playing Final Fantasy 14, because like that I can just raid very casually and still be very happy with. So
yeah, and that's the main thing. They've done so, like, to kind of just round out without reiterating too much. I think like my closing thoughts on Lost Ark are, it's just too much time, too much of a time sink. And then on top of that, they do everything in their power to make you not interested in the character that you're playing. So, yeah, other than that, I mean, there's waifus all over the place. So I guess that's cool. I can't wait to see what the PvPing is like. But yeah, I see me playing that for now. Yeah. For the short term. But we'll see what happens 6 months down the line.
For sure. All right. And speaking of the last thing that we're going to talk about in today's episode, we have Elden Ring, which comes out this weekend, or when this video comes out, the weekend before. And I'm super hyped about this. Like, basically, I think From Software has just now earned a core dedicated group of fans who just, since Dark Souls 1, will play whatever they put out. I mean, it's so funny because like they're type of game that they put out are so singular and have very similar play experiences, right? Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. You have Demon Souls, which is the predecessor. You have Bloodborne, which is another, you know, Soulsborne game, and Sekiro, another Soulsborne game. And now, finally, we've landed on Elden Ring, and I've been hyped about this since the trailer came out. And based off of the things that they've said, like, this is the first time that in From Software's career, really, that they've done a true open world experience game. And I think that's I know some people might go and say like, oh, isn't Dark Souls open world already? And like, it kind of is, but it's pretty, like, if you're just starting out in those games, I find the experience pretty linear, because like there's usually a couple paths open to you, but there's like a very, very much like brighter and easier path to take, and a much deep. I don't know. Have you played much of the Dark Souls games, Crim? I'm kind of curious.
I've only played a little bit of the Dark Souls games, so not enough to like. 'Cause armor is a big part to what draws me into a game. I thought the armor looked boring.
You don't just play naked. That's what that's what all the people do.
Maybe that's what I need to do. I enjoyed the gameplay though. The first Dark Souls was fun. Or no, sorry. I didn't start with 1. I played 3.
Okay.
3 was my first entry into any of the Dark Souls stuff.
Gotcha.
So I don't know anything about lore. I don't know anything about that. I just went into it solely for gameplay. But Sakura, like that one, I forgot the name of it. But
Sekiro?
yeah, that one,
Yeah.
Sakura, like that one, I did play. That one was fun.
Yeah, I love Sekiro. It was way more active gameplay compared to Dark Souls, and the aesthetic was sick in that one. And
Right.
so this is again a little different because like Dark Souls is very, I don't know, medieval, like Western Europe sort of feel.
Yeah.
And Sekiro was obviously very like Japanese focused, but then Elden Ring has sort of like a Viking sort of vibe to it. Like they have the ancient tree in the background, which I assume it may be something like Yggdrasil. Yeah, Yggdrasil. I don't know on it. So like this one also has sort of a different vibe.
Drizzle.
Yeah, egg drizzle. Egg drizzle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or the paths if you're in Attack on Titan. Oh wait, that's I don't know. Crim, you never heard anything from me. You need to catch up on Attack on Titan.
Okay, sure. It's fine.
So-
it's fine. I'm gonna yell at you later.
I'm just excited. I'm excited for the open worldness. I was kind of concerned, not gonna lie, when I first heard that it was open world, because like I think open world games have a tendency to not actually utilize an open world very well, and it just creates a lot of empty space that happens. You know,
That is a huge concern of mine. Yeah.
because like the thing about when you play Dark Souls, everywhere you go, it feels like the developers have created a very particular set piece in every single room in Dark Souls. Like, okay, you walk through this corridor into this room. There's one sneaky motherfucker who's going to come at you from the left and you don't see him. There's a trap to the right side. So when he knocks you from the left, you'll get knocked into the trap and instantly die. So you're going to learn that as you die for the first time, right? And so like, I feel like Dark Souls is very good about creating these intricate like set pieces throughout the game. And so by being open world, I wonder if it's going to lose the sort of like intenseness that Dark Souls has, because like Dark Souls, it like every single area that you get into feels like it's just full of like obstacles that you need to go through,
Right. And like you feel like there's definitely predetermined dangers and things like that, right? So you kind of, this time we're gonna see how much of that matter, or like how much of that comes into play here.
yeah,
right?
because
Yeah, like that's one of the things that I'm kind of curious about, because Dark Souls 3, the one that I played, was pretty fun. It didn't quite hook me, but that's because I normally like the open world thing.
yeah.
Right? So, but like you had mentioned, almost every game that's like open world feels like it just says that for the sake of saying it, and it doesn't really actually seem like it's designed for open world. But and another thing that my concern is like, Elden Ring has the same armor set look that kind of it doesn't look like it's very spellcaster friendly. It looks like it's very melee brute force, right? Which makes sense because of the playstyle. But the one thing
You
that
can
does
play
draw me,
casters.
you can play casters. But did you play Skyrim?
Yeah.
Skyrim is a fun game. It is a very fun game. It has its bugs, but it's a very fun game. The spellcasting, just like in if you play Dragon Age, some of the most fun gameplay ever, but most awful looking costume design for a spellcaster. And I think that's probably going to be more of that, right? More of that. Now, I will say that what makes up for the terrible aesthetics for me so far is that the monsters look badass.
Oh yeah.
Every monster I've seen from Elden Ring looks so much cooler than a majority of the other Souls games that I've seen, like design-wise. So I have absolutely, like, that is the biggest intrigue for me. So I'm here, I'm going to ignore my character and what it looks like. It's going to be a non-factor. I'm just going to imagine as this, like, 3-polygon moving thing, right? And then I'm going to look at the boss where I'm like, oh, yeah, give me that gray dragon or whatever that is, or whatever horse monster. Like, I am here for that.
I love the jar man, the little jar man.
Yeah, like, yeah, like, see, I've been looking around, looking at what it could look like gameplay wise. So I am liking the bosses, and that is the main thing. As someone who loves playing Monster Hunter for, well, the monsters, because God knows Monster Hunter armor also looks kind of like, yeah, to me. Yeah, like that one. This game does a good job with creature design, and that's going to be the thing that carries me and through the gameplay.
Yeah. I think for me, like I never really gravitated to the spellcaster side of Dark Souls games, so that for me isn't as big of an issue. But I just hope that it's good, and I think one of the traps, again, going back to the open world thing, is like, you know, Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask. It's open world, but it's so linear in how the game actually plays out.
You better not say anything about a Majora's Mask. Okay, Majora's Mask is godly every step of the way.
I think it's a fantastic game, but actually, I would say Majora's Mask suffers from this anyways less than Ocarina of Time, which is that, like, Ocarina of Time, it gives you the illusion of open world, but is actually in fact just super linear. And I'm curious if Elden Ring is going to fall into that too, because like in Ocarina of Time, it's like, okay, you have to do the temples in order. So even if you can travel everywhere, you're locked anyways until you get the bow, which will unlock the slingshot, which will unlock the, you know, whatever. So, yeah, I hope Elden Ring lives up to its tale. I hope that the game is as fantastic as everyone hopes it is. I'm praying to, like, I know every gamer in the world has been hurt by a pre-order. I know there's hurt in your heart here about the last time you pre-ordered something. God forbid if any of you guys pre-ordered on like Cyberpunk or something like that. I know there's hurt in our hearts.
I did.
I know the gaming community has hurt you.
Reserved. I'm so, like, I've been hurt so many times, right? From Cyberpunk, Resident Evil 6. I am just so concerned. I'm not even trying to hype it up for myself. I'm just going to play it. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to buy I bought the
super deluxe edition.
The biggest deluxe edition. Cause like Cyberpunk is gonna be it, dude. I will never have to play another game. God, this game is so bad it barely even works. So I'm
oh god.
I don't okay, I'll be honest. I don't think Elden Ring could be as bad as Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
I don't think it could be. However,
knock on wood, Crim.
I mean, knock on wood, but there's no way, right? There's just no possible way it could be as bad as like Cyberpunk. So, like, because at least Cyberpunk, you know, like Elden Ring looks like it's completed. It wasn't like, oh, shareholders want you to drop the game now. So, like, it was like Elden Ring seems like it was actually done.
Yeah.
Like when it was supposed to be done.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk was just released because shareholders and all that stuff were wanting the game out now.
Mm-hmm.
Because like there's a meme that happened on the Cyberpunk trailer. I remember it's like things that have happened since Cyberpunk's announcement, and it had a timeline. And it's like the PS5 had come out before.
Oh man.
And like you should read the comments on the Cyberpunk trailer. It's hilarious. Somebody did a chronological big major event in the gaming industry that had happened in its announcement and then when it was actually released.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I'm hoping the same, okay? But I don't want to get hurt again, but I do think Elden Ring will probably be okay. Probably, right?
I mean, sure, maybe. We'll find by the time this video airs, I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out.
I do wonder though, like, will your computer be able to handle it? It's like its requirements, like video games now are requiring you, like Cyberpunk. I had to get a full system upgrade to play Cyberpunk. And I will say that, oh my God, I regret it. But the thing here is I did a full system upgrade just to play that game. Now the requirements for Elden Ring is pretty beefy. Now there's what's considered playable, but that's like how Cyberpunk said, oh, you could technically play it on a 1050 or something like that.
Yeah.
That's trash. Like, that's trash. Like, it's literally like not possible to play it.
I have these system requirements here. Okay, so this is what they say is the minimum system requirements. An i5,
Sure.
12 gigs of RAM, a 1060 or equivalent,
Right.
DirectX 12, and 60 gigs of storage. So actually, the minimum requirements are pretty beefy, I would say. I mean, not an i7 and stuff, but yeah, here are the recommended system requirements. An i7,
which is worrisome.
Yeah,
right. Because that's just because they usually say the recommended, but that's like on the end of it barely functioning, right? So
yeah. So here it's an i7, which that's what I got, man. I don't know, 16 gigs of RAM. I don't know where spare RAM where, I don't know. 1070 on graphics and 60 gigs of storage. So like my PC just barely eclipses those, you know?
We'll see. We'll see. Because remember, I thought that too, but my 2080 Super couldn't play Cyberpunk.
Okay. Hopefully it works, man. Hopefully.
So we're gonna find out. But yeah, like, so I think outside, like, that's the biggest thing for me now. I'm hoping video games can kind of find a way to optimize it on its release, because PC gamers are going to be struggling. However, if you want to, you can always just play it on the PS5 or something instead.
Yeah.
If you were one of the lucky human beings that even got one. So, because I still don't have my PS5. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a PS5 either.
Yeah, I am trying. By God, am I trying. But yeah, like, any other thoughts as we kind of round out the episode?
No, I mean, I just think, Q1 of 2022 has already had so much like big news in entertainment, right? With, I think just in our space, right? Like anime, there's been fantastic. I mean, our last episode was about the fact that we think that we might be in a generationally high shonen, peak for anime. We have Elden Ring. We have Pokemon Arceus, which did numbers. We have this Magic set, which has been maybe one of the best sets in previous years. Like, so many things are sort of like record breaking. So yeah, it's a good time to be a gamer, good time to be an anime fan. It's a good time to be a degenerate and
degen, nerd, gamer, weeb, any of it, all of it's good, right?
So at this point now, I am just excited for Elden Ring, and I am going to be binging that when it comes out this weekend. So that's pretty much it.
I guess my closing thoughts on this is a little like along the lines of the same. I'm less optimistic. I'm more reserved and concerned about lots of things. I do think that the games that we've, like the animes that we've had have been killer. Magic's most recent, like Kamigawa set. If you yourself haven't played Magic, go get it on Arena. It at least teaches you the basics of the game, and then try the game for yourself. If you can even get a hold of physical product, if that's somehow possible, because that stuff's like flying off the shelves. But yeah, like, so congrats to like Magic for killing it. Congrats to like Lost Ark for being so popular on Twitch, and we're gonna hope that it sticks around. But it's gonna have a lot of updates in order for it to like be something to last for a little bit longer than a few months.
Yeah.
And Elden Ring, I am concerned the most about. But we're gonna play and we're gonna see it then. And other than that, dude, holy crap, we did. I think this is like what our first official episode that mixes in a little bit more than anime. As we had mentioned, we've been wanting to grow the podcast in multiple directions.
Yeah.
And so we're going to continue to do that. So, but we're obviously still weebs at the end of the day, so there's still the core. But, look for more content from us, whether it's Magic, movies, anime, video games, Xell's feet picks, or anything along those lines. Also, we should be getting a Patreon set up soon, because we'd really appreciate the support. We love making content for you, and we want to continue doing that. So
yeah,
we're working that Patreon up. So keep an eye on all of our socials and everything along the lines.
Yeah, we've also been posting on our TikTok, a la Crim. So check out our TikTok as well. And yeah. Other than that, thanks for listening in, guys. Thanks for watching the video. And, as always, comment about your favorite games that are coming up on anything. Do the things.
PalWorld.
It helps us a ton. Helps us get on the algorithm on things. So, I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching, guys.
PalWorld.
We're going to play that.
We're going to play that.
All right. Peace. Dude, PalWorld